my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think you'd understand.
Some songs have no business being as big as they became. They were goofy, they were strange, they were the kind of tracks serious music lovers dismissed without a second thought, and yet audiences around the world simply could not get enough of them. Here are 10 times a silly one-hit wonder became a massive, undeniable hit. If stories about the quirky, joyful, and utterly unpredictable side of pop and rock history are your kind of thing, consider subscribing to the Vinyl Veteran so you never miss a video like this one. Number 10. Mambo Number 5, Lou Bega.
Little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side.
A young German singer with Cuban roots walked into a recording studio in the late 90s and recorded a track built around a decades-old mambo melody by Perez Prado. The original Mambo Number 5 had been recorded by Prado back in 1949, meaning Bega was resurrecting a groove that was already 50 years old when he brought it into a Munich studio in 1998. Lou Bega added a spoken word verse that listed women's names over a brassy tropical groove, and the result sounded more like a novelty party track than a serious pop release. Most industry insiders expected it to fade quickly. Instead, Mambo Number 5 reached the top 10 in around 30 countries. It held the #1 spot in Germany for weeks and became one of the biggest selling singles of 1999 worldwide, eventually shifting over 4 million copies in Europe alone. Bega essentially disappeared from the charts afterward, cementing his one-hit wonder status. But that single remains instantly recognizable to this day.
A little bit of Tina's what I see, a little bit of Sandra in the sun.
Number 9. Barbie Girl, Aqua.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
By the spring of 1997, a Danish-Norwegian pop group called Aqua released a track that sounded almost deliberately designed to annoy critics. Barbie Girl featured cartoonish vocals, a bubblegum synthesizer melody, and lyrics that parodied consumer culture through the lens of the famous plastic doll. Mattel was not amused and filed a lawsuit, which a U.S. court ultimately dismissed with a remarkably witty ruling that essentially told both sides to relax. The legal drama only added fuel to the fire. Barbie Girl reached #1 in around 15 countries, sold millions of copies, and became one of the defining pop songs of the late 90s. Aqua managed a handful of follow-up releases, but nothing came close to replicating that cultural moment.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Number 8. Who Let the Dogs Out? Baha Men.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Released in the year 2000, this track by the Bahamian group Baha Men asked what may be the most inexplicable question in pop history. Nobody fully understood what the lyric meant. Sports arenas adopted it immediately. Stadiums across America blasted it between plays. Children screamed it on playgrounds. Adults who considered themselves people of taste found themselves humming it in grocery store parking lots against their will. The song won a Grammy Award for Best Dance Recording in 2001. It topped charts in multiple countries and became one of the most played tracks at sporting events for years afterward. The Baha Men had been recording music since the 1980s, but this single track defined their entire legacy, for better or worse depending on who you ask.
Who let the dogs out?
Number 7. Macarena, Los Del Rio.
And if you could, I'd take you home with me.
Two middle-aged men from Seville, Spain, recorded a flamenco-flavored dance track in the early 90s that was largely ignored on its initial release. A remixed version reached American radio in 1995, and within a year the Macarena had become one of the most unavoidable songs on the planet. The accompanying line dance, simple enough for anyone to learn in about 90 seconds, appeared at weddings, school gymnasiums, corporate retreats, and political rallies. It even made a memorable appearance at the 1996 Democratic National Convention, where delegates danced to it on the floor in Chicago. The single held the #1 position on the Billboard Hot 100 for 14 straight weeks in 1996, a remarkable run by any measure. Los Del Rio were both in their 50s at the time of that success. They became genuine international celebrities almost entirely because of a dance that involved shaking your hips and placing your hands on your head. Number 6. I'm Too Sexy. Right, said Fred.
Sexy for my love, love's going to leave me.
In 1991, two British brothers named Richard and Fred Fairbrass recorded a track with an electronic pulse, deadpan vocals, and a lyric centered on the absurd premise of a male model who was simply too attractive for ordinary life. The song was not remotely subtle. It was not trying to be, right, Saeed? Fred essentially dared the music industry to dismiss them, and the industry reached for the radio dial instead. I'm Too Sexy reached #1 in the United Kingdom and climbed to #2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, kept from the top spot by Boys II Men. It sold millions of copies worldwide, earned the brothers a level of international fame entirely disproportionate to the song's lyrical ambitions, and remains a staple of nostalgia playlists to this day. Before we continue, we would love to hear from you. Drop a comment and let us know where you are watching from. It is always great to see where the vinyl veteran community is tuning in from around the world.
Leave me, and I'm too sexy for this song.
#5. Achy Breaky Heart, Billy Ray Cyrus.
You can tell my arms go back into the fall.
In 1992, a mulleted country singer from Kentucky released a mid-tempo line dance track that the serious country music establishment greeted with barely concealed disdain. Critics called it simplistic. Radio programmers debated whether it even qualified as real country music. Billy Ray Cyrus released it anyway, supported by a line dance instructional video that spread through honky-tonks and county fairs with remarkable speed. Achy Breaky Heart became the first single ever to achieve platinum certification in Australia, and it reached the top of the country charts in the United States, while also crossing over to the pop top 5. It sparked a full-blown line dance revival that lasted years. Cyrus went on to have a long career, but this one track, dismissed by so many at the time, launched everything that followed.
My achy breaky heart, he might blow up and kill his man.
#4. My Ding-A-Ling, Chuck Berry.
Catch me playing with my ding-a-ling-a-ling, oh my ding-a-ling.
Here is a fact that tends to stop people mid-conversation. Chuck Berry, one of the most important and widely celebrated figures in the entire history of rock and roll, spent decades recording landmark tracks that defined the genre, and his only #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 was a silly double entendre novelty song he had been performing live for years before it was ever officially released. Recorded at a concert in Coventry, England in 1972, My Ding-A-Ling captured an audience singing along to a playground joke set to a simple piano melody. It topped the charts in both the United States and the United Kingdom, where it held the top position for 4 weeks. Berry was in his mid-40s at the time. Maybelline, Johnny B. Good, Roll Over Beethoven, none of them reached that peak. Only this one did.
Silver bells hanging on a string. She told me it was my ding-a-ling.
#3. Kung Fu Fighting, Carl Douglas.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
The year was 1974. Producer Biddu had booked studio time for a different project and found himself with roughly 10 minutes to spare at the end of a session. He invited session singer Carl Douglas to lay down a track inspired by the martial arts craze sweeping popular culture at the time, fueled in large part by the enormous success of Bruce Lee's films and the television series Kung Fu, which had premiered just 2 years earlier. Douglas had been struggling to find commercial success for several years. Recorded in a single take, Kung Fu Fighting was initially released as a B-side. Radio DJs flipped it over almost immediately. The song shot to #1 in both the United States and the United Kingdom, sold millions of copies worldwide, and became one of the fastest climbing singles of the entire decade. Douglas made a few more recordings, none of which came close, but that 10-minute throwaway turned him into a genuine pop footnote of the best possible kind.
Those kids were fast as lightning.
#2. The Monster Mash, Bobby Boris Pickett.
Working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight.
A young actor and part-time singer named Bobby Pickett recorded a novelty track in 1962 that parodied Boris Karloff's distinctive speaking voice while telling a story about monsters doing a new dance in a laboratory. It was the kind of song that sounded like it belonged at a Halloween party and nowhere else. Many radio stations initially refused to play it, calling it too morbid. The BBC banned it outright in the United Kingdom, deeming it unsuitable for broadcast, which only deepened its cult appeal among younger listeners. The Monster Mash reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in October of 1962. It was re-released and charted again in 1973. It returned to the charts once more in the United Kingdom in 1973 as well. Decades later, it is still among the most played songs in America every October, a genuine seasonal perennial that has outlasted countless more serious artistic endeavors by a wide margin.
Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash.
Number 1. Come On Eileen, Dexy's Midnight Runners. Somewhere in Birmingham, England, a restless young band leader named Kevin Rowland spent years chasing a sound that combined Celtic folk music, rhythm and blues, and an almost theatrical emotional intensity. Come On Eileen, released in 1982, arrived with fiddles, overalls, and a building momentum that swept from a gentle acoustic opening into an irresistible full-band conclusion. It sounded like nothing else on the radio that year. The track was produced by Alan Winstanley and Clive Langer, the same pair behind Madness and Elvis Costello records, and they captured Rowland's restless vision with a warmth that made the song feel simultaneously intimate and enormous. The song reached number 1 in the United Kingdom and climbed to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, where it became the best-selling single of 1983. Dexy's Midnight Runners largely faded from mainstream attention afterward. But come on, Eileen has never truly gone away. It plays at weddings and reunions and late-night diners and radio stations that have been spinning it for over 40 years now. A warm and joyful reminder that sometimes the most unexpected songs are the ones that stay with us the longest.
Come on, Eileen, come on, Eileen.